Today I will be talking about a school that has absolutely won me over as my favorite college of the 5 that I have attended. That school is Western Governors University. It is a fantastic college to really set yourself up for success in a variety of fields, but there are a few gotchas to be aware of before enrolling. This guide will address some of them, but it's possible that I've missed something. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments and I will add the notes to this video's description. Also, the vast majority of this video focuses heavily on military tuition assistance, so it may not apply to you if you are not in the military or using TA. This video is split up into several sections defined here. Feel free to skip ahead if you do not need the information in a certain section. First off, what is Western Governors University, or WGU as it is more commonly called? WGU is a online, nonprofit, and regionally accredited college based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Something WGU does that I have yet to see another college offer is that it has flat rate tuition. This means that regardless of how many classes you complete during a term, the price of that term will not change. This is built upon by one of the best features about WGU. It is competency based. That means as long as you can pass the tests, you can take as many classes as you can fit into one term. I will further explain these ideas throughout the rest of the video. At the time of this recording, WGU offers 70 different undergraduate, graduate, or specialized degree plans spanning business, teaching, information technology, and healthing and nursing. Each of these degree plans are generally similar in each school, but offer courses to enhance your understanding and different specific competencies. For example, inside of business, you can focus on healthcare, human resources, marketing, and so on. Due to the requirements of the different degree plans, cost per term varies a bit between plans, but one thing remains the same. You will pay one flat rate for the term regardless of how many classes you can squeeze into it. A term at WGU is 6 months and always begins on the first day of whichever month you start. At the time of this recording, the cost per term varied from around $3,100 to $4,900 depending on if it was undergraduate or graduate and what specific degree you selected. In 2018, the cost of classes was raised for the first time since 2008, so the prices may rise in the future, but they are generally static. What's great about this is if you had the ability to knock out class after class due to past knowledge and/or your immense dedication, you could theoretically complete all the classes required of you in just 1 or 2 terms. Depending on how many classes you need, this may not be reasonable, but if you look around the internet, it's easy to find people who have completed upwards of 40 to 50 credit hours during one term. One final note on this subject is that in addition to tuition, there may also be resource and program fees. For my degree, these totaled $295 per term. For the sake of keeping things consistent, I will be using the Information Technology Cloud and Systems Administration degree plan when referencing classes and costs throughout the rest of this video. What does competency-based education mean? Essentially, it means that if you pass the test, you get credit for the class. In the past, I have completed entire classes in 3 or 4 days due to my previous experience and knowledge in the area. I would get the same credit for completing that class as somebody who took 2 months to complete it. If you take a look at the number of courses and professional certifications for Cloud and Systems Administration, you will see you will obtain 18 professional certifications from industry leaders such as CompTIA, Microsoft, and Amazon. Completing these certificates will give you credit for 18 courses. The final 17 courses are general education such as math, English, etc. that have tests provided by WGU. One final thing to take note of is the word competency units. Since WGU is competency based, they use the phrase competency units. This is their equivalent to semester hours, and I have never run into or heard of any issues due to this. Now that we understand what WGU is, I'd like to take a moment to cover some details about military tuition assistance, or TA. It varies slightly from branch to branch, but for Army, Air Force, and Marines, you get 100% tuition up to $4,500 per fiscal year. Navy is a little different in that you get 100% tuition, but it caps at 16 semester hours instead of a monetary amount. Coast Guard has the biggest difference as it is 75% tuition for up to $4,000 per fiscal year. Each branch has semester hours capped at $250 each. Additionally, you have to pay resource and program fees out of pocket. From this point on, I will speak with knowledge on the Air Force as it is the only branch I have direct experience with, but I'm assuming most branches are handled the same. Please verify this before taking my word as gospel. The first gotcha comes to those unfamiliar with the term fiscal year. A fiscal year starts on 1 October and ends 31 September. That means that a class started on 18 July 2018 and a class started on 23 November 2018 will come in different pools of money even though they are both in 2018. Another note is that you cannot submit your tuition assistance any earlier than 45 days or any later than 7 days before the start of your class. If you mess up and try to submit the tuition assistance within 7 days of starting the class, try to drop the class as soon as possible or you will have to pay out of pocket. I've been there and trust me, it's not fun. The last big note that comes to mind is that you can only change your degree plan once. It doesn't matter if you stay in the same school or if you find a different school with the exact same degree plan. Both of those count. If you start a BS in marketing management and decide that you would rather do a BS in computer science, that's fine, but if you change your mind again and want to do a BA in mathematics, you'll have to pay for this degree on your own. I'm not saying this to discourage you from deciding, but to encourage you to really think about what degree you want before choosing one. One of the biggest things to understand about how WGU works with military tuition assistance is how they charge the military. As opposed to a standard college charging a flat rate per semester hour, WGU works to make sure that each competency unit is under the $250 per semester hour cap. The price that they charge per competency unit fluctuates based on how many credits you have signed up for in a term. For a degree that costs $3,190 per term, the magic number is 13 competency units. You can take more than 13 competency units, but you need at least that many for the military to foot the entire bill. One thing that is super important to mention here is that you want to pay extra attention to how many classes you are leaving for your final term. If you are on your second to last term and have time to squeeze in another class before the end of the term, do not do it if that would leave your final term with a single 4 competency unit class. Completing your final term with a single 4 competency unit class will mean that the military will pay a maximum of $1,000, that's 4 times $250 per semester hour, and you will be stuck paying $2,190 for tuition, plus the $295 fees. Now that we've covered a little bit about military TA, let's take a look at the cost of attending WGU for 1 year. With tuition assistance, program fees, and resource fees, Cloud and Systems Administration will cost $6,970 per year. Military tuition assistance will pay $4,500 of the tuition, leaving you with $2,470 per year that you would have to be paying out of pocket. That's not terrible if you don't need to attend for more than a few terms, but we're going to look at a few ways to cut that down a little. There are 3 things to consider that will save you significant amounts of money: transferring credits into WGU, applying for scholarships in the Pell Grant, and planning strategic term breaks. Additionally, you can find waivers for the $65 application fee, which isn't an enormous amount of money, but it is better than nothing. Before I begin, WGU doesn't accept transfer credits for the graduate level degrees, only undergraduate. Additionally, you can only transfer credits before you begin. Once you start WGU, they will no longer take transfer credits. The biggest thing you can do to save time and money, as obvious as it sounds, is to take fewer classes. You can do this by transferring in as many credits as possible before you begin. One way you can do this is through taking previous college classes, and due to the Community College of the Air Force, a lot of credits can be knocked out immediately off the top by completing your CCAF first. I have talked with a lot of people who are not so worried about their CCAF and want to jump right into WGU. If you really want to do that, I can't stop you, but just know that any credits that you could have obtained for free through the CCAF, you're likely going to have to pay out of pocket for by not doing them there. After you've completed your CCAF, take a look at the CLEP and Dante's tests. The military offers these for free, and you can knock out multiple terms worth of classes just by passing these. I cannot find a list of tests that directly transfer over to WGU, but I've reached out to WGU and will provide a link in the description if they give it to me. In the meantime, I will talk about indirectly figuring out which CLEPs to take in a moment. Finally, I would like to note that WGU will give you credit for classes that you have already obtained the certification for in the past 5 years, so if the requirements for a class are Linux Plus and you have earned Linux Plus, you get credit for that class. Until I can find a list of CLEP tests that directly correlate to WGU classes, you can figure out which tests you need to take by looking at the Program Transfer Guidelines documents and the link that I've provided in the video's description. You can generally Google the name of the course in the acronym CLEP or Dante's and see what comes up. As a few examples, the Google term Intermediate Algebra CLEP returns the College Algebra CLEP. The terms Introduction to Communication Dante's and Introduction to Communication CLEP both return the Principles of Public Speaking Dante's test, and so on. This isn't a foolproof way to check, but it should at least get you pointed in the right direction. Ask your enrollment counselor if you're worried that a test will not count towards your transfer credits. Another big thing you can do is sign up for the WGU Military Appreciation Scholarship. The only requirements for the scholarship are that you are active duty or a veteran and that you apply within 60 days of starting WGU. It is broken out into $500 payments through your first 4 terms and totals $2,000. Aside from this one, WGU offers 24 other scholarships for anything from transferring from specific colleges to being the child of a WGU student or alumni. Make sure you look over these before applying. Another way to take a bite out of the total is to apply for the Pell Grant. This grant is determined based on your need, but it is up to $5,290 as of the 2017 to 2018 fiscal year. I can't say how much you would get as it depends greatly on your personal circumstances, but I've seen lower enlisted military get around $500 per term. Both of these require you to complete the FAFSA before applying. Another thing you can do to cut your out-of-pocket cost is to strategically plan term breaks. After completion of a 6-month term, you can take up to 3 months off. If you take the fiscal year into consideration, then you can use this to push your term into the next fiscal year so no money comes out of your pocket. Note that if you do this and use the Military Appreciation Scholarship, the first 2 terms will reduce the amount of tuition assistance used and will not directly reduce your out-of-pocket expense. The 3rd term, however, will cost the military $500 less, meaning that they will pay $500 more for term 4. This will leave you with $295 per term that you have to pay for fees and an additional $1,310 for the tuition in term 4. During term 4, you can apply for the Pell Grant, reducing that even further. If you only have 4 terms planned and you knock out the classes for the 4th term during the first 3, you can avoid that entirely. A very important note to make here is that you will need to be proactive in your return. Western Governors University does not start actively processing your return from break until 15 days prior to your next term. This is not enough time, so make sure that you reach out to your student mentor and the military support desk 30 to 45 days before you return to receive a course cost breakdown that you will use to submit for tuition assistance. Finally, while it is not the thousands of dollars in savings that the other tips can save you can save yourself $65 by watching for application fee waivers. It looks like right now you can waive that fee by by speaking with an enrollment counselor, but if it isn't that way in the future, and if you found this video helpful and want to support me in making more, WGU has a referral program. If you send me a private message with your email address, I will send you an email with an application fee waiver code within a day or two. By doing this, you save $65 applying, and I get a $20 Amazon gift card or $30 WGU store credit. If this video merely helped you out and somebody else really sticks out in your decision to enroll in WGU, I encourage you to reach out to that person and have them provide you with the application waiver code. The instructions to do that are in the video's description. I covered everything I could think of in this video, but let me know if you have any questions or suggestions in the comments. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Most importantly, I hope you decide to enroll and enjoy WGU as much as I do.